I think it's time for the Carney Liberals to get to work. You know, they've been in power for 11 years, including a year with Mr. Carney there, and what have they done? No pipelines approved, no major projects approved. The deficit has doubled. We have the worst food price inflation in the G7.
What you just heard is part of a growing political storm in Canada, one that is now directly tied to a massive and controversial proposal, the federal high-speed rail project. Opposition leader Pierre Poilievre is stepping up his attacks on the government, arguing that after more than a decade in power, Canadians are seeing rising costs, growing debt, and fewer real results. And now, he's adding one more demand to the list: cancel the high-speed rail project. This proposed rail line, expected to connect major cities like Toronto, Ottawa, and Montreal, has been pitched as a transformational investment in Canada's future. Faster travel, greener transportation, and stronger economic links between regions. But critics say that vision comes with a very high price tag.
Mr. Carney barely even shows up for question period a third of the time, the lowest turnout rate of any prime minister in the last decade and a half. It's time for him to stop the illusions and start getting the results that he promised in people's everyday lives: affordable at home, safe at home, strong at home.
After questioning leadership and accountability, the debate quickly shifts to priorities. Because at the heart of Pierre Poilievre's argument is a simple question: should Canada be spending tens of billions on a rail project right now? Estimates for high-speed rail are not small. In fact, similar projects around the world have often exceeded their initial budgets by billions. Delays, construction challenges, and political changes frequently push timelines further than expected. For many critics, this raises serious concerns about whether Canada can realistically deliver such a project on time and on budget. Poilievre argues that the country is already facing significant financial pressure. From rising grocery bills to housing affordability issues, many Canadians are struggling with the cost of everyday life. In that context, committing to a massive infrastructure project could place even more strain on public finances. But the federal government sees things very differently. Supporters of the high-speed rail plan argue that this is exactly the kind of long-term investment Canada needs. They say modern infrastructure is essential for economic growth, competitiveness, and environmental sustainability. High-speed rail could dramatically reduce travel times between major cities, making it easier for businesses to operate, workers to commute, and tourism to expand. It could also reduce reliance on cars and short-haul flights, cutting emissions in the process. However, critics are not convinced. They point out that Canada's population density is much lower than countries where high-speed rail has succeeded, such as Japan or France. That raises questions about whether enough people would actually use the system to justify its cost. There's also the issue of opportunity cost. Every dollar spent on high-speed rail is a dollar not spent elsewhere, whether that's healthcare, housing, tax relief, or other infrastructure needs. For opponents, this is where the debate becomes most critical. Should the government focus on solving immediate problems, like affordability and economic pressure? Or should it take a long-term approach, investing in projects that may take years, even decades, to fully deliver benefits? This is the dividing line between two very different political visions. On one side, Pierre Poilievre is emphasizing fiscal restraint, lower spending, and immediate economic relief for Canadians. On the other, the government is promoting long-term transformation through large-scale national projects. And this isn't just about trains. The high-speed rail debate is becoming a symbol of a much bigger conversation about how Canada should grow, spend, and plan for the future. Is this project a bold step forward? Or is it an unnecessary risk at a time when many Canadians are already feeling financial pressure? As political tensions rise, one thing is clear: the decision on high-speed rail will have long-lasting impacts, not just on transportation, but on the country's economic direction. And with voices like Pierre Poilievre pushing back harder than ever, this debate is far from over. What do you think? Should Canada move forward with high-speed rail, or cancel the project and focus on immediate economic concerns? Let me know your thoughts in the comments.